One of the coolest things about Digimon is that depending on the project, if the creative team decides it, a Digimon can digivolve into pretty much any other Digimon. Even to the point where like fresh Digimon can be used as in-training Digimon. I was right about Metal Coromon, it's just not very common. But we do have to admit to ourselves that some Digimon are intended to have a proper through-line Digivolution. You can see this especially in partner Digimon in the anime like Agumon Greymon. What's up everybody, happy new year and welcome to my first video of 2021. And before we get started, this many people still are watching but aren't subscribed. What are you doing? You're watching my videos but you're not subscribed. What, do you hate me? Do you think I'm a bad person? Do you hate watching my videos? Probably. Listen man, if you're watching the videos anyway, even if you're disliking them, if you're watching a bunch of them, why not subscribe? You'll get them first, you're more likely to see them. And if you hate me at the end of all of it, you're sick of seeing my stupid Digimon videos, unsubscribe. I don't blame you, I hate me too. Before we get started, I do want to touch on Shakuamon. I hate Shakuamon, but I'm not putting on this list. I'm not saying that Ankylamon and Angemon need a different Digivolution, because while I hate the design, I get the reference. I understand it's a Dogu, I get the significance. I just hate Shakuamon, so that's why it's not on this list. Let's go! In at number 10 is Veemon. Now you might be a little bit confused here because I have harped on about how much Paildramon and Imperialdramon just feel like ex-Veemon, and Wormmon and Stingmon get a little bit left out of the equation. But thanks to the creation of Bancho Stingmon, Wormmon now has pretty much a complete through-line Digivolution all the way from Fresh through to Mega. But Veemon and ex-Veemon are kind of just left with the Paildramon line. I've been reading the V-Tamers manga recently, and so that's got me thinking about kind of an Aero X Veemon. Veedramon is kind of like an OG prototype of ex-Veemon, if you will, the original Veemon evolution that goes from Veemon to Veedramon to Aero Veedramon and ultimately All-Force Veedramon. So while I don't want a huge completely original Digivolution for ex-Veemon, I do think an Aero ex-Veemon and an All-Force ex-Veemon would be pretty cool, or an XYZmon or something like that. I love DNA Digivolution, it's one of my favorite things about Zero 2, but I would like to have seen especially ex-Veemon get an Ultimate and a Mega dedicated just to him. I would have liked to have seen Ankylamon and Aquilamon get their own Ultimates and Megas, but I'm not as bothered as I am about ex-Veemon now that Stingmon, like I say, has a full through line. In at number 9 is Bakomon. This is a Digimon created by a fan, and I just think it's really cool, and it's going to tie into something further on in the list. I think Omekamon would be a natural champion form for Bakomon, but apparently it isn't. But a full through line of kind of craft Digimon, you know, cardboard, Legos, pencils, crayons, paints, brushes, those kind of things would be super cool for Bakomon. I'd love to see a through line for this, especially like an in-training form that's just one cardboard box and then a fresh that's like a sheet of paper or something. I just think Bakomon's such a neat idea. I love that it's fan made. I just wish that it got more love. In at number 8 is Toy Agumon. Yes, of course, Toy Agumon made this list. Toy Agumon actually can digivolve into Omekamon, which we talked about previously, which is kind of like a children's drawing Lego version of Omegamon or Omnimon. And while I like that, I really would much prefer a full Toy Agumon Digivolution line with like a Toy Greymon, a Toy Metal Greymon, and a Toy War Greymon, and maybe even Omekamon as the final or a proper Toy Omnimon. I'm sure I'm butchering their name, but shoutouts to Kaio Region, who did some art for further on the list for this amazing Toy Greymon concept, which I think is really cool. Shoutouts to them, go follow them on Twitter and Instagram. But I also was theorizing how you could kind of take the toy concept and expand it. A lot of people saying that it has to be Lego, it has to be building blocks if it's Toy Agumon, but why? Why are you making that rule? Agumon digivolves into the much bigger dinosaur Greymon, who then gets a bunch of metal and wings. Like, Digivolution doesn't have to be very strict and linear, it's not like Pokemon. So my idea for a Toy Agumon Digivolution line is Toy Agumon digivolving into what I call Construct Greymon, which is kind of like picture Bionicle, so it's still Lego, but there's more Lego building blocks and those kind of like Bionicle connectors and sticks and stuff, which would then digivolve into Die-Cast Greymon, which I think is such an overlooked idea for a metal Greymon form, but die-cast toys are such a popular thing, especially in Bandai toys through the history of Bandai with Sentai Morphers and stuff like that, and Power Rangers Morphers in the West. All sorts of Bandai toys have had die-cast parts, that it seems such a natural idea to have have a Metal Greymon be a die-cast Greymon. I think that would be really cool. And then I think a finale, I don't know if I'd call it this, but the concept name for it I've given it for War Greymon is Gunpla Greymon, because Gundam is owned by Bandai, so they could use the Gunpla concept without any legal issues. But a Gunpla Greymon, which is kind of like War Greymon mixed with that kind of Gundam vibe, and you can see all the connecting joints, maybe some like kibble that hasn't been sanded off on the shoulders. I think that'd be really cool. So yes, apparently I've gone from someone who didn't really care that much about Toy Agumon a few years ago to now someone who desperately wants him to have a full Digivolution line. Life comes at you fast. In at number 7 on the list is Bergamon, and I nearly didn't put this on the list, but the more I've thought about it and the more I've stewed on it, number 7 is appropriate. Bergamon is a really cute Digimon. I love it. There's also Ebi Bergamon, which is a shrimp Bergamon, which I think is really cool. But then Bergamon digivolves to its champion form, and what happened? It becomes an onion who is cooking burger? It becomes a line cook who is an onion. What a wasted opportunity. There are so few food Digimon. There's literally about 5, I think. Google. There are 4. There is Bergamon, Champion Bergamon, Ebi Bergamon, and Torikara Ballmon. As a side note, one of my least favorite things in Digimon is when a Digimon evolves into the same name. I think the only time that I don't mind it is Algamon, because that's kind of the point of Algamon. But when it's just Bergamon digivolves to Bergamon, what a wasted opportunity. I'd love to see a full through line, and I know someone's gonna say it, Fat Boy wants a food Digimon. Yes, it looks delicious and it looks like a friend. You could have like an in-training form which is like ketchup and mustard, a fresh form that's just a bun. The possibilities are limitless, you know, a proper champion who's much bigger. Maybe something like Bergamon from Kamen Rider Eggzade. There you go, Toku fans. I made a Toku reference. Are you happy? But there's just so many places you could go with this, like a Mayor McCheese form. But seriously, I love Bergamon and I want him to have a proper Digivolution line. Get on it, Bandai. Make me happy, please. I need Bergie. In at number 6 on the list is Morphomon, and oh boy, this is a big entry for spoilers. I'm going to try and dance around them, but just in case, if I do let slip something about Last Evolution Kizuna or Hacker's Memory, you can skip to this timestamp to just avoid this entry on the list. Let's keep going. So, Morphomon is a partner Digimon in Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna. The partner Digimon to a character called Menoa, and I'm not going to touch on any more than that. But in Digimon Last Evolution Kizuna, we don't see it digivolve past Rookie. In fact, we don't think we even see an in-training or refresh for it, which is a huge disappointment to me. There is a kind of Morphomon adjacent creature in Evolution Kizuna, which again, I'm trying not to spoil, but that's not a true Morphomon form. It's a weird kind of side tangent digital life form thing. Now, in the Pendulum Z, Morphomon does digivolve into the champion form Hudimon. I've not played Hacker's Memory yet, but I know the spoiler. Thanks, internet. Hudimon is a big spoiler for Hacker's Memory, which I definitely will not touch on, but it is a butterfly kind of humanoid Digimon, which does, I think, work really well for Morphomon. It's a nice kind of accidental pairing that I think works out, but then there's no Ultimate, there's no Mega. It can also digivolve into Gokimon, which I think is pretty funny. This beautiful little butterfly Digimon digivolving into a cockroach is just funny to me. I'm obviously a big fan of Bug Digimon, and Morphomon's in this weird category between Bug Digimon and kind of like Animal Digimon, but I really like it, and I think it's a shame, especially given the heavy context of Last Evolution Kizuna, that we didn't see a champion for this. It's poetic, right? It's almost part of the narrative that it never got beyond Rookie. But still, I would just maybe in a canon that isn't Last Evolution Kizuna, I'd just like to see what could have been, you know, especially a Mega for Morphomon. That would have been really cool. And again, the other creature in Last Evolution Kizuna, it doesn't quite count as much as I think is kind of neat. Alright, spoilers are over, and it is time for our number 5 pick, and that is Blimpmon. And now, Blimpmon may seem like a weird pick, right? Why do I care about Blimpmon? It hasn't featured super prominently in the franchise, it's now got a card in the Digimon card game. Why do I put this so high on the list? It's because it's a champion with no Rookie. It's very common in Digimon for a lot of Rookies to not have many canon or like proper Digivolution lines. They kind of cap out at Rookie. This whole list is an example of that. But Blimpmon feels so strange to me because it is a champion form with no real Rookie in training or fresh or ultimate or mega that has any real bearing on its design. It just kind of sits there on its own. Again, I really hate bringing up Pokemon on these lists, but a good example there would be Drifloon and Drifblim. You could do something similar with Blimpmon. Obviously, I hate it whenever someone's like, oh, this Digimon looks like this Pokemon. Oh, this Pokemon looks like this Digimon. You are not the first person to say that Pulse Godsmon looks like Zeraora. Please stop making that comparison. It's so basic. Oh, I'm gonna get hate for that one. But yeah, something like Drifloon and Drifblim would be good for Blimpmon. I think you can kind of lean into that Victorian steampunk vibe that Blimpmon has going for it and do like kind of like a Victorian crazy creator kind of thing. Maybe have Blimpmon turn into like some sort of steam powered plane or a train. Just take it from the air to the ground. Have its rookie form be a hot air balloon, very Jules Verne, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot of potential in this design, but it's just kind of this champion, which while being a soaring blimp, kind of ironically is left rudderless and grounded with no other Digimon that it really truly works with. It does Digivolve, but it just doesn't really work for me. In at number 4 on my list is Kalumon, and this is a Digimon I go back and forward with on whether or not I think it needs a Digivolution. Kalumon's whole thing is that it's almost not a Digimon. It's got more in common with the Diginomes in Tamers than it does with real Digimon, and it's more of a kind of catalyst for Digivolution, especially when it triggers Shining Digivolution towards the end. But I think there is a plot point or a plot element, a plot thread for Kalumon that gets overlooked, which I think kind of matters, and I think would have been really good if it did get a champion form, or even maybe a mega form to mirror Impmon. In many ways, Kalumon is kind of Impmon's opposite in Tamers. Impmon, this kind of force for chaos and destruction and trickery, and Kalumon, this completely innocent light that does cause a lot of problems, but through good means, good measures. And also, Kalumon kind of has this Pinocchio syndrome. It doesn't fit in. It wants to be a real boy or a real Digimon. It learns how to do that by interacting with both Digimon and humans, and I think it would have been a really nice moment if, much like in Pinocchio, he gets to become a real boy, if Kalumon gets to become a real Digimon with a Digivolution line. I don't want to retrofit Kalumon into an existing Digivolution line. I think I'd love to see an artist really take a crack at what Kalumon would look like as a champion, Ultimate and Mega. I did see someone point out that Gatomon looks quite a lot like it could be Kalumon's champion, and now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. But I will say this, there is a perfect freshen in training form that would just make sense for Kalumon. You could adjust them if you wanted to make truly original line for Kalumon, but I think Puttymon and Cupimon just work far too well for Kalumon that I'm fine with those being its freshen in training. But from there, just, oh god, please, if Digimon Tamers turns 20 years old this year, 2021 is the Japanese 20th anniversary of Digimon Tamers, it would be a perfect opportunity to maybe ignore that weird CD drama where Takato gets taken into the future and Rika and Henry are grown up. I like the concept of that drama, but as like a non-canon adventure, throwing time travel into Tamers feels a little bit Tetsuya Nomura for me, and I like Tetsuya Nomura, but come on, Dream Drop Distance, really? But picking back up with the Tamers cast and maybe in a really tough battle, Kalumon warp digivolving to Mega, mirroring Impmon's warp digivolution to Beelzemon would be really cool and really intense. A kind of almost Seraphimon form, you know, the big cool holy angel kind of thing, would be really good for Kalumon, and I'd love to see it. And if you have designed your own Kalumon digivolutions, please let me know down below. Hit me up on Twitter at Khan_EX to send me images if you have images. I would love to see them. Just at me, I'd love to see them. I'll retweet the hell out of them. Hey, guess which dumb idiot accidentally skipped over his own number 3 pick when he was recording it? That's right, it was Khan from the past, and I am Khan from the editing suite, and Khan from the past, as we all know at this point, is a goddamn moron. Look at his stupid, handsome, sexy face. Anyway, his number 3 pick is Sound Birdmon. This once again is a fan-made Digimon, and the reason that I would put it so high on my list is because it has become something of kind of an evil mascot in Digimon Adventure 2020. Sound Birdmon basically replaced Demi-Devimon, although there's many of them, and I think Adventure 2020 would have been the perfect opportunity to finally give Sound Birdmon a proper Digivolution. This is a Digimon that even in VPET still has not Digivolved or Digivolved from anything, and it is a very basic Digimon. It doesn't even really have a face, but I think you could really explore a full line with this. A sound-based speaker meets bats meets birds, a sound-based crow or something like that with big speakers like a hi-fi system would be really cool. Maybe even blend it in with the Devimon line and kind of give us a sound version of Devimon. That could be really cool. Its function is nice in Digimon Adventure 2020, but I just like to see more of it, and I think evolution is a way that you could do that, especially if a bunch of Sound Birdmon like came together and merged into a new form. I think that would be a really cool opportunity. Maybe a huge set of speakers like on a Rockstar's stage made up of Sound Birdmon, like a Sound Birdmon fortress, a murder of Sound Birdmon. Anyway, let's get on with the other items on the list, you idiot Pascan. In at number 2 on the list is my boy, my child, my sweet baby, my favorite Digimon, Wormmon. Although Fanbeamon is getting close. Watch yourself. Wormmon is so perfect. I love Leafmon, Minimon, Wormmon, Stingmon, Jewel Beammon, Bancholeomon. I love Pyogemon. I love Imperialdramon. But the one thing I can't stand, and I've talked about this before too, is Buchimon or Poochimon. It's just such a bad armor Digivolution. I don't think the design is inherently bad, but for Wormmon, that's its armor. Like, make it make sense. I don't understand Digimon. It's not got an armor. I guess it embodies kindness. I've talked about this ad nauseum in my worst armor Digivolutions video, so I fixed it. As I said earlier, shoutouts to Kyoregion who did the Toy Greymon. They reached out to me and offered to design a Digimon for me, and of course I had to get them to design Shinmimon. Now I'm sure people are going to say, that's terrible too, that's not what I'd have as a Wormmon Digivolution, but I love Shinmimon. I love the armor, I love the design here. This is exactly what I want from a Wormmon Digivolution. Kind of a bit like Stingmon, much like Flamedramon's kind of like XVmon, but with the armor, with a different body shape, and I can just picture this flying alongside Raydramon or Flamedramon, you know? Shinmimon really looks like it complements Davis's Armor Digivolution Digimon, and I absolutely adore it. This is what I want for Wormmon. Not Poochimon. Poochimon can go back to its home planet. Shinmimon is here to stay. Once again, shout outs to Kyoregion. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you so much for that art. It is phenomenal. And in at number 1, I am breaking one of my big rules with my top 10 videos. And no, it's not the rule that I won't do top 10 videos. I broke that one a long time ago. I am actually combining Digimon for my number 1 slot, but you'll see why. In at number 1, the Digimon I believe most deserve a proper Digivolution is every Armor Digimon, or at least specifically the Armor Digimon from 02. I absolutely adore Armor Digivolution. It switched up evolution, it did new things, and it also didn't feel like a rapid departure from what we knew from Digimon Adventure. And the whole point of Armor Digivolution is that it is a side tangent Digivolution. It's kind of a patch to deal with the virus that is the Dark Towers. But that doesn't leave me not wanting to see what they could become. Obviously, we get true champion forms in XVmon, Aquilamon, and Ankylomon, and then the further DNA Digivolutions, but I just wonder, man, what would an ultimate Flamedramon look like? An ultimate Raydramon? How would Shurimon progress? If it just keeps the ninja theme, you know, but goes further with it, goes further with the plant stuff, what would an ultimate or a mega Halcymon look like? And it's not totally out of the question. We have lots of examples of Armor Digimon digivolving. Digmon, for example, can digivolve in a ton of Digimon media. Oftentimes, while they are Armor Digimon, when they're not partnered with the 02 kids, they're often treated as just regular Digimon. In fact, there's a lot of Armor Digimon side forms like Bormon that are just regular Digimon too. So Armor Digimon further digivolving is well established in Digimon canon. They just tend to be retrofitted into digivolving into other Digimon, but I would love to see full forms. A ultimate Digmon is something of a dream for me. That sounds so sad. Once again, I think that's something that I'd like to put together. Maybe I'll work with one of the talented artists that has done some amazing work for me and maybe try and design some of these evolutions I'm looking for. But yeah, a ultimate or mega Raydramon, just ugh. Alright, well that's my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are there other Digimon you think deserve proper evolutions? Let me know down below. Like I say, if you're an artist and you've designed some of your own proper Digivolutions or just Digivolutions in general, let me know what they are down below, or like I say, at Khan_EX on Twitter. Hit me up with those pictures. Huge shout outs again to Kyoregion for those 2 amazing Digimon arts of Toy Greymon and Shinmimon. And also shout out to my boy Frozen Stratos, who I commissioned to do this Khan_EX Digimon art, so I am now Khan_EX digital YouTuber. So I'm not going to use this all the time, but I will use this for like live now thumbnails and stuff, so that's kind of like my Digimon avatar, I guess. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope 2021 is good for you. We are far from at the end of the tunnel where the light is, but hopefully things will start to improve slowly, and thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Can't wait to see where we go for the rest of the year, and until next time, I will see you when we go digital.